long time ago, the Israelites lived in Egypt, but they were treated as slaves under the harsh rule of Pharaoh. They cried out to God for help, and God heard their prayers. During this time, Pharaoh ordered all Hebrew baby boys to be thrown into the Nile River. But one mother, Jochebed, placed her baby in a basket and set it afloat on the river. Trusting God, Pharaoh's daughter found the child and raised him as her own, naming him Moses. Moses grew up in the palace, but he knew he was an Israelite. One day, he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave, and in his anger, Moses killed the Egyptian. Fearing for his life, he fled to the land of Midian, where he became a shepherd. One day, while tending his flock, Moses saw a burning bush that did not burn up. God spoke from the bush, saying, "Moses, I have seen the suffering of my people in Egypt. Go to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go." Though Moses was afraid, God promised to be with him. Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron and stood before Pharaoh, demanding, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh refused. So God sent 10 plagues upon Egypt, turning water into blood, sending frogs, locusts, and darkness, until the final plague, the death of the firstborn. That night, God commanded the Israelites to mark their doorposts with lamb's blood so that the angel of death would pass over them. This became the first Passover. After Pharaoh's own son died, he finally let the Israelites go. As the Israelites journeyed toward freedom, Pharaoh changed his mind and sent his army to capture them. Trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army, the Israelites were terrified. But God told Moses, "Lift your staff over the water." Moses obeyed, and the Red Sea parted, creating a dry path. The Israelites crossed safely, but when Pharaoh's army followed, the waters crashed back, drowning them. The Israelites were free. As they traveled through the desert, the people complained about hunger and thirst. But God provided for them manna from heaven, water from a rock, and quail for meat. At Mount Sinai, God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, teaching the Israelites how to live as his chosen people. Though they struggled with faith at times, God remained faithful to them. Moses led the Israelites for 40 years in the wilderness, guiding them toward the promised land. Though he did not enter it himself, God used him to fulfill his great plan. Moses' story teaches us about faith, obedience, and God's power to save his people. Please, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Bible stories, and also to help us to grow this channel as we spread the gospel.